What's up guys, Justin here with Crash Fab. Today we are getting my front axle ready for the new JKU build that we're doing. So I ordered these axles probably a couple of years ago, and my original intent was to build a 4500 car with them. And for a 4500 series class, I ordered this axle set a little bit different than this JKU build, what I would have ordered for that. So the difference is for the 4500 class, you have to keep a conventional steering. So I just ordered standard knuckles and planned on doing an aluminum steering with the tie rod ends and all that stuff in a steering box. So that's the first difference. And the second difference in the class is that you can only run 37-inch tires for that class. So I just kind of kept things simple with your standard Dana 60 setup, 35 spline axles with standard U-joints because they're plenty strong for 37s. Looking at it now, I got an LS going, 42-inch Maxxis's, and I'm going to do full hydro on it. So looking at it now, I'm like, well, I would have ordered this axle completely different. I would have done a 40 spline setup with some big knuckles on it. But we're going to make this work because I have it. I also would have ordered an ARB locker instead of the Eaton locker, just because of the experiences we've had over the last few years. The ARBs have been performing really well, so I probably would have switched that up too. So what I'm doing today is basically switching out these outer C's, and I have a set of new outer C's from Fusion. It's the same setup except for there's a keyed spline on top, and along with that we'll put a new hat on top of it too that's got a longer arm to accept the full hydro. I'm going to do full hydro on this Jeep just because I have been experiencing some clearance issues with conventional steering setups and track bars in the frame and motor, and there's just like some clearance issues there. So to get around those clearance issues, to have that nice stance as well as functionality, I'm going to try a full hydro setup on this Jeep. And so we're going to switch these out, and also with running the big 42s, we're going to change these U-joints out to some Yukon Super Joints. The reason for that is that these joints, the standard Spicer U-joints, I think they're 1480s. They're just not strong enough for anything over 40s, as well as it's going to have an LS behind it too, so a lot of horsepower there too. So something's going to snap. So I'm going to take some steps right now to fix that so we don't have those issues. And then also, because this axle has been sitting around for a couple years, I had a customer, aka Adam, break his shaft. He didn't break the shaft, but he was in the same boat as I was. Originally I had ordered his axle with the standard 1480 U-joints, and he ended up stepping up to the 42-inch tires, and he was running those big Mickeys for a while that are pretty sticky, and so he ended up breaking the U-joint. What also happened when he broke the U-joint is that because it kind of has a violent action inside there, the ears on the axle shafts, they tend to get walled out, broken, damaged. So basically what we did is, he was in a rush to go to another event, so we ended up pulling the whole axle assembly out of this right side of the tube here, and I swapped it into his with Yukon Super Joints. So he was able to attend his event and also come out stronger and not have these issues. And as to date, he hasn't had any issues with those axles and U-joints yet. So that's what we're going to do. Do a quick little tutorial video on changing out these U-joints and assembling them. They're not the easiest U-joints to put together because there's internal C-clips that go inside them. They're kind of a difficult process to get them in there, so at least I have trouble with it. There may be probably a driveline shop out there laughing because they do it every day, 30 times a day, and it's really easy to them. So, but I'm not there. I do it, every once in a while, so it's kind of a aggravating process to me. But all right, let's get after it and change some stuff out and put this thing together. So here is the new outer C's we're going to put on. You'll notice this big large key that's not present on what's on the axle currently. So this big large key accepts into this keyway here on the bottom of this knuckle, and then goes on there and ends up looking something like that. And then with the full hydro kit, Fusion includes these big ass bolts and the spacer that goes between the two. And so this will get locked in there, and then basically what you do is wherever you want to put your steering knuckle, you cut the section out of this spacer, and that's where your steering knuckle goes. All the nuts and bolts, all the studs and bolts to go into the new arms, and some new kingpin stuff for the kingpin. And here's the new set of axles that I got replaced because Adam took my axles. So just standard 35 spline and really nice shafts.
That's what she said.
Okay, so here's the new Yukon Super Joint, and with the C-clips like this, you need to put these on prior to installation. What makes it hard about that, so they've got these really nice cool grooves that are put in here, and what that does is that lets you actually rotate it into place, right? So what's difficult about these is they have to go on first, and when you put these on, well, you put that right where the clearance needs to be had for this to go on, because otherwise it won't go on. So the hard thing that I struggle with on these is trying to spread this open while this goes on. And this one isn't as bad because, you know, I don't have the other part that I'm fighting and holding at the same time. But I still wouldn't say it's easy by any means. So basically what I'm doing is trying to spread the C-clip enough that it gets out of this groove area so that it can fully lock in. And I kind of lost it here, so I'm gonna have to try to get it back. Damn it. Either that or maybe we just push it forward a little bit. Okay, that's probably not the best idea, but it was functional. And I kind of put a little burr on that, so I'm going to clean that burr up with a small file. Like I say, anybody that does this every day is probably laughing because they're probably like, oh, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And they're right, I don't do this every day. But I've done it enough to know that it's a bitch. And I've also done it enough to know how to put it together. So that's why you're watching. So now we can press in our caps and start assembling this thing. I think I'll do it this way. So what you want to do is make sure you pre-grease everything with this little fancy grease gun. And so I put a good amount in here. And I'll put a good amount in here. And then kind of put a good amount on here. Okay, and then I'm going to use my finger and spread this around because I like getting the Silver Surfer all over me. It's my favorite. What I should do is do all 4 caps while I got this on my fingers. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay. So just so you guys can see, and basically I just squirted a bunch inside there and then spread it all out, so I've got a nice even layer, and I hit my O-ring a little bit too, and then the back a little bit too. So it's got a nice layer of grease. I'm gonna wipe my fingers off now. Okay, and then I'm just going to use a soft blow to kind of set these in place. Okay, it's got a nice good seat. Set these down here. And do the other side a little bit. Okay, and then so I use a hammer to kind of release pressure on the ears a little bit as I'm going together. Better hammer. Okay, so So if you can see, I got both the caps pressed on there where that my snap ring groove is fully exposed on both sides. And then I'll go ahead and set the snap ring. And then I always like to take it and spin it just to make sure that it's like, you want it like a little bit loose in there, but that way you know that it's actually seated. Because if it isn't seated in there, then it's going to be tight and you're not going to be able to spin it. But if you can spin it, then you're seated. At least that's my test that I usually do. So yeah, there's one side in, and looking at it, let's see, Yukon gives you a specification for ear distance once assembled. Maybe not. Okay, so there's one side done. Now we'll do this next side. So the part that I struggle with the most on doing this process is me messing around with this for a few minutes already. You know, I'm trying to expand this as much as I can so that it gets out of this groove on the back side. And in doing that, like, I'm already stretching the C-clip out, so I'm really hurting the integrity of this thing. But I don't know any other way to do it. So until somebody else comes up with a better idea, I guess I just got to keep doing it this way. I think that doing C-clips from Yukon would be a little bit easier option for sure, but it's not like you have a choice when you order these kits. But the problem is there's a lot of stuff to fight when you're doing this. Shit. Got a lot going on here. Okay. She's on. Game on. Now, I'll do same thing, kind of get a little lube on this. Yeah, I know I forgot to do one of the ones on the other side, I just realized that, but the cap was pre-lubed, so I'm happy with that, and I'll go ahead and lube these up before we get going. Right here. Come on, Betsy. There. This one. I tried to do it that way, but I don't know if it's going to work that way. It's going, it's just slow. Stupid. Well, she's been a little bit difficult. Well, I was going to try to do something fancy, but that ain't going to work. Okay, let's go ahead and put this pin in. Okay, we got one side down, and then what I'll do is grab me a socket. Okay, so this side I already set the C-clip and we're good on distance. When I keep pushing this, I don't want to push this side any further. I want only this side to push. So this side didn't go together as evenly as the first one did. The first one went together really evenly, and I was able to stop when both sides had the perfect ringland exposed. This side, we're gonna do a little bit different. So I get this positioned in here, and we'll push this. Okay. Maybe just a touch more. Okay. Now I'll go ahead and put my C-clip in. Snap ring is like the technical term, not C-clip, but there's that. And we got a nice good snap on that side. And let's see if we can move it. Okay, we're good. So there's your set of Yukon Super Joints installed. Got good movement, so that's good. You go ahead and put in your grease zergs now, and this axle is ready for assembly. Okay guys, thanks for watching us put the U-joints in the new axle shaft. So here's the new U-joints installed in the axles. These are all ready to go. Got them all greased up, grease zerks in. You want to make sure and put the grease zerks in once they're installed. And we're ready to start building this hoss now and get it going. Thanks for watching guys, appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.